Chapter 3779. After Kong-eun hung up the phone, she packed her things and hurried home. She did not want to stay on set any longer, in case she could not explain herself. She felt that she was too unlucky. She had been so careful to choose a script that would only appear a few years later. But in the end, the drama, like all her other works, appeared in advance. Kong-eun did not know what to do with such an unexpected situation. The only thing she could think of was to run away as soon as possible. Otherwise, she would be in trouble. On the other hand, the director, who had been hung up on by Kong-eun, called her again, only to find that her phone was turned off. At this point, how could he not know that they had been tricked by Kong-eun? They were already halfway through filming and her drama had already aired. The plot was almost exactly the same, but he was certain that the other party had handled the details better than him. Let's not talk about the cast. Director, have you contacted Kong-eun? At the mention of Kong-eun's name, the director's face darkened. We have been tricked. If Kong-eun wasn't guilty, why would she run away instead of looking for trouble with the other company? He also hoped that the other party had used Kong-eun's script without her consent. In that case, they could sue the other party, hold them accountable and demand a huge sum of money. If the other party had infringed on their rights, they could take their drama down and continue filming. Not only would they recoup their losses, they could also create hype for themselves. However, the situation was different now. The current situation was that the scripts did not belong to Kong-eun. If they continued filming, not only would they have to spend a lot of money, they could also face a lawsuit. What? Director, what should we do now? What else can we do? Of course we have to sue her, the director said angrily. Does she think that everything will be fine just because she ran away? Although Kong-eun had caused a lot of trouble in the past, it did not involve the directors and scriptwriters. Moreover, it had been a long time since the incident. If Kong-eun did not cause any trouble, people's impression of her had basically faded. Therefore, the directors, scriptwriters and the crew did not know that Kong-eun used to be notorious. When they planned to sue Kong-eun, they finally found some clues on the internet. They followed the clues and finally confirmed that this Kong-eun was the same Kong-eun who had caused Xue Jing to suffer so much. Although Kong-eun was still using a pseudonym, as a scriptwriter, he would definitely need something like an ID card. There weren't many photos of Kong-eun on the internet, but it wasn't impossible to find. So, the entire crew was dumbfounded when they saw Kong-eun's glorious past. Director, we've provoked a jinx. Plagiarizing comics and songs has now reached our circle of screenwriters. She probably didn't expect that the other party had already started filming. A scriptwriter couldn't help but say, she's a spy sent by the other party, right? Don't talk so much nonsense. Hurry up and find out where Kong-eun is. Even if we can't kill her, we can at least make her shed a layer of skin. Seeing that the director was so angry, no one dared to say anything. The loss this time was indeed huge. They had filmed close to half of the scene and it was impossible to continue filming. Chapter 3780. Kong-eun thought that everything would be fine after he left. She did not expect to receive a summons from the court half a month later. When she received the summons, she was a little dumbfounded. Kong-eun had made a lot of money over the years. After all, every time she was exposed for plagiarizing someone else's work, she had just published it and taken it off the shelves. Other than her bad reputation, she did not suffer any big losses. This was the first time she was being sued. Knowing that she could not escape, she quickly hired a lawyer. Kong-eun had developed well in the past few years and had a wide circle of contacts. However, after her bad reputation, the people around her had distanced themselves from her. Who would dare to be friends with her? Hence, Kong-eun had to deal with everything herself. Lawyer Chin, how is it? Can I win this case? Kong En was still very anxious after the lawsuit. She knew that if she lost, she would have to pay a lot of money. Miss Kong, is this all the information you can provide? Lawyer Chen furrowed his brows. So you're saying that you plagiarized someone else's work and sold it to a certain film company. Now that the original creator has already filmed the TV series, the film company found out and they're going to sue you. Kong En was a little flustered, but she nodded honestly. Can I win? If that's the case, you definitely can't win. Miss Kong, you will definitely lose this case. Lawyer Chen, I spent a lot of money. I didn't ask you to help me lose the case. I asked you to help me win. Kong En was unhappy. If she lost, she did not know how much she would have to pay. Didn't he say that he was a top lawyer? Why didn't he look like a good lawyer? She suspected that her money had gone to waste. She had hired a scammer. Miss Kong, they have no evidence to prove that you plagiarized someone else's work. According to what you said, they only saw the 3 episodes of the TV series and felt that the plot was similar. As soon as he said this, Kong En immediately understood and nodded. Yes, I didn't plagiarize at all. They are the ones who want to slander me. I won't take the blame for this. Since they said that I plagiarized, why were they so straightforward when they accepted the script and made the deal? I sold it to them because they wanted to buy it. They didn't reject it and didn't check it properly. Can they blame me? Besides, the TV series nowadays are all the same and the plot is similar. Is it strange? So, they have no right to sue me. That's right, that's it. Kong En heaved a sigh of relief. That's right, the production crew isn't Hua Yan. If Hua Yan doesn't know about this, they won't have any evidence to sue her. What Kong En didn't expect was that the director went to look for Hua Yan. Now, Hua Yan handed over the company's affairs to his subordinates. He rarely went to the company. He basically stayed at home to read scripts, ponder over them, and dote on his wife. Therefore, the director went straight to Hua Yan's house. Director Hua, actually, I'm here to ask you for a favor. The director was also a straightforward person. He handed the script in his hand to Hua Yan. Some time ago, the company bought a script, but it ended up being scammed. A few days ago, I watched Boss Hua's drama and realized that the content of this script is very similar to that drama. When Hua Yan saw the other party, he knew what was going on. He casually flipped through the script. The content of this script is indeed very similar to my company's recent new drama. No, it should be said that other than a few details, it is almost exactly the same. Chapter 3781. Speaking of which, the script that Kong En had provided was one of the first few versions that he had come up with. The current version was the one that he and Tanghua had discussed for a long time. Based on the current ratings, it was already considered a hit. What do you want me to do for you, Director He? Kong En plagiarized your script and we have been tricked by Kong En. So, I hope that you can provide us with evidence this time. In other words, we need your time and a complete version of the script. If possible, we can compare it with the finished version. Kong En had dared to trick him and cause him to lose so much money. Therefore, he was going to make sure that he went bankrupt. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to take it lying down. It was too infuriating. After being a director for so many years, this was the first time that he had been angered to death by a newcomer. Kong En was a name that he would never forget. It was the most humiliating moment in his career. Okay, I'll do it. Hua Yan had been waiting for Kong En for a long time. Since Kong En had presented himself, he would naturally agree. Moreover, at this juncture, he also wanted to sue Kong En. He also wanted to make Kong En go bankrupt. He wasn't the only one who wanted to sue Kong En. Yi Yuling and the old soldier also wanted to sue Kong En. They had waited for so long because Kong-en hadn't published much of their work. Even if they had sued Kong-en before, they wouldn't have been able to pay a high price. As for suing Kong-en at the same time, it was just icing on the cake. Kong-en originally thought that with the help of a top lawyer, this wouldn't be too big of a problem. Unexpectedly, within a few days, Kong-en received 3 court summons one after another. They were from Hua Yan, Yi Yuling and the old soldier. When Kong-en saw Hua Yan, he panicked and hurriedly went to look for Lawyer Qin. "What did you say? The original author has sued you." Lawyer Chen's expression turned serious. When he saw the 3 tickets, he didn't feel good. He felt that he was about to lose 4 times in a row in his career. A lawsuit was a long and drawn-out process. Hua Yan had hired a professional team, so the 3 of them didn't have to worry at all. As for director he was a director who had been in the industry for countless years. Of course, he had his own professional team. In the end, Kong-en was the only one who panicked. On the day of the trial, Kong-en's face was as green as a vegetable. Kong-en's top lawyer had already used his glib tongue to defend himself, but in the face of absolute evidence, Kong-en had still lost. Not only had she lost, but her actions had already constituted fraud. The amount involved was huge, and the scale of the case was huge. Kong-en had no chance of winning against Hua Yan, Yi Yuling, and the other veterans. Kong-en watched helplessly as the money she had earned over the years was slowly being compensated. Her heart ached as she hated the people who had sued her. However, she didn't have time to think about this. Director He's lawyer thought that they could directly sue Kong-en for fraud. The main reason was that Kong-en had sold Hua Yan's script for a huge sum of money. If the script was not her original, it would be equivalent to cheating her. As a result, not only did Kong-en lose a lot of money, but he also went to jail. Even though she had appealed, the original sentence was upheld in the end. On the day she was sent to prison, Kong-en couldn't understand how she ended up like this when she had a phone that could search for anything. Chapter 3782. She suddenly hated that magical phone a little. Since it could search for anything, it shouldn't be a problem for her to use it, right? Otherwise, how could it have such a magical function? She thought that it was the phone that was harming her, so she went to jail unwillingly. The moment the door closed, Kong-en refused to accept her fate. She felt that she was going in the wrong direction. She shouldn't have involved literature and artworks. She should have involved other things. For example, clothing, high-tech, and so on. She had never heard of anyone who made the same high-tech product being sued in the end. She also heard that people knew about other people's design drafts in advance and made their own clothes to sell. No one sued them or anything. She could accept that. After all, that was too tiring and costly. Who would have thought that a certain director and Hua Yan would specially do such a tiring thing and insist on spending a year and a half to fight a lawsuit with her? She was looking forward to being released from prison. When she was out, she would start drawing design drafts. She wouldn't draw any big brands that supermodels wore. She would draw the hot-selling products of clothing companies and sell the design drafts to others. Also, she would get some high-tech information or something. She didn't believe that she couldn't make a comeback. After all, there were so many useful things in the phone in her mind. As long as she still had her phone, even if she was in prison for a few years, she would still make a name for herself after she was released. Sister Tang, are you a fairy from heaven? At the company's annual meeting, Tang Gua, White Sage, the veterans, Yi Yuling, and the others sat at the table. Thinking about their experiences over the years, it was as thrilling as riding a roller coaster. They didn't expect that their fates would change like this. Especially White Sage. Now, the works under his name had been developed to the extreme. Film, animation, comics, simple and complex entities, overseas, games, and some peripherals. Everyone knew the name White Sage. It could be said that he was the leader of the xianxia genre. As for the others, although they weren't as powerful as White Sage, the works under their name were emitting a light that belonged to them. It was as if every ray of light was emitted by gold. They were all Tangua's money trees. I also think that Sister Tang is a fairy from the heavens. She's here to save us poor people who are suffering, Yi Yuling added. Hua Yan saw that everyone was staring at Tangua attentively. He quickly pulled her into his arms and said, "Let's make it clear first. Worship is worship. I have no objection to calling you sister or ancestor. You are not allowed to have any other thoughts." Now, wherever his wife went, she would shine brightly. Even if they were married, he still felt very uneasy. They clearly knew that she was a married woman, but in the end, those people acted as if they didn't have eyes and insisted on coming in front of her, wanting to dance with her. Did they think that he didn't exist? "Brother Hua, if you didn't know Sister Tang first, I wouldn't mind being gay for her." Yi Yuling winked, making Hua Yan want to run away with Tangua. "Go away, don't have any bad ideas." Hua Yan touched his chin and said, "There are many young talents in my company. I see that you people who are immersed in writing and art don't have time to take care of your marriage. Why don't we have a social gathering next time?" Hua Yan felt that this social gathering had to be organized. He quickly let the authors of the Dream Building website get out of singleness so that they wouldn't keep their eyes on his wife. Chapter 3783. Hua Yan was a man of action. Later on, he helped the two companies organize a social gathering every year. Indeed, it allowed the authors of the Dream Building Station to leave their single lives one after another. It became a unique style in the industry. As a result, there was a meme among the authors and artists. "I feel like I should be single now. Why don't we go to the Dream Building Station? It's said that the station master's husband will send us a partner. Anyway, I know someone." After going to the Dream Building Station, I started to kill enough in less than 2 years. Okay. I think so too. I hope the station master's husband can give me a better one. So, don't ask the country to send one now. The country is so busy. How can they care about your partner? If you lack a partner, go to the Dream Building Station. A few years later, Kong En was finally released from prison. Kong En had just been released from prison and was restless. She found out about some clothing companies and quickly copied many design drafts of clothes. Just in case, she made some changes. Then, she submitted it on the internet. Kong En was so anxious that she forgot to collect information on the internet first. When she received a reply, the message sent by the other party made her a little dumbfounded. "This style is too common. What our company needs is new ideas." New ideas, understand. Kong En searched online and realized that in just a few years, the clothing styles of this world were advancing rapidly. It had already evolved to the point where ordinary clothes were more or less the same. There would not be too many changes in the design. Kong En looked at a lot and was extremely indignant. However, she had no choice. In the end, she still planned to make some works of design masters. At the thought of this, she quickly went online to look. Not only did the public's clothes improve rapidly, but the works of masters were also released in advance. Therefore, Kong En finally gave up on clothes. In fact, the entire world's clothing industry was improving because of Tangua. She did not let those things come out in advance and directly use them for something. She only did 2 things. First, she recruited the designer who Kong En plagiarized in the plot to the company. Second, she asked the system to help her find a future fashion design master and asked the system to help inspire them in advance. Therefore, the entire world's clothing industry had developed rapidly in the past few years. It was said that fashion was cyclical. The clothing industry was not like other industries. Even if it developed a little faster, at most, it would change the aesthetics. The way people dressed would not change much, and there would not be too much of a negative impact. That was why Kong-en came out to see the changes in the clothing industry. In the end, Kong-en extended his hand into the technology industry, intending to do something big in it. During this period, she did a lot of work, mainly to ensure that the things she took out were not available in the world. Kong-en took out several pieces of information and anonymously submitted them to some companies that he had his eyes on. At first, she didn't take anything that was particularly advanced. She mainly took some technological products that could be used in daily life. Indeed, a company had taken a fancy to it and bought it from her. These companies were naturally curious about who Kong-en was. It would be great if they could recruit such a powerful person to their company. However, Kong-en didn't want to get too close to them. After all, she knew that she would get into trouble if she took out these things. She was planning to make herself a mysterious person. All she needed to do was to provide technological information and sell it for money. She didn't want to get involved at all. She had even thought about it. When she had enough money, she would go abroad. It was said that in many places abroad, capital was the greatest. As long as she had enough money, she would definitely be free. Chapter 3784. Kong-en is already selling information on technology products to some companies. Currently, it's all for civilian use. However, there's a lot of information in her phone. Not only for civilian use, but there's also some very dangerous information. Tangua analyzed. You said she's already asked about going abroad. That's right. Kong-en doesn't even show her face now. She wants to rely on those technology products to save money to go abroad. Tongzi, have you captured the signal of her phone? Dear host, I've already captured it. The other party is very good at hiding. It's actually hiding in Kong-en's brainwaves. The frequency of the signal is about the same as her brainwaves. However, it's not good enough in front of me. I've been monitoring it before. Perhaps it sensed Kong-en's caution, so it seems to have become much more careful. Basically, if Kong-en doesn't use it, it's like it's invisible and moves according to Kong-en's brainwaves. If he wasn't powerful, he wouldn't have discovered this. Then can you control it? For example, attack it and delete all its information. Of course I can. As long as I capture its traces, I'll be able to deal with it. I think it's a bad thing. It's better to destroy it. There's a lot of information in it that is very dangerous. Once Kong-en uses it, even if the world doesn't collapse, it will cause all kinds of things, even war. Dear host, do you think this thing is produced by the Space Administration? I've communicated with 111. 222. It said that one of the purposes of the Space Administration is because of their opponent. They will recruit all kinds of capable people to go to the small world to carry out missions. As long as someone in the small world alarms them, they will send mission enforcers over. Half of the missions are completed because of their opponent's interference, causing a huge change in that world. If they don't set things right in time, that world will face extinction. It's somewhat similar. After being reborn, taking away someone's life, obtaining someone's success, and killing someone, isn't it like stealing someone's luck? Tangua said, if it's a normal thing, it won't teach people to plagiarize other people's works. However, the function of that phone is like a pie falling from the sky. In other words, it attracts people to commit crimes. After all, in the face of great benefits, very few people can keep their hearts. That's right. It's like a pie falling from the sky. For example, there's something that allows you to check the exam papers in advance. I believe that students can't help but sneak a peek. Such a thing is clearly harming people. The system analyzed, how can there be such a good thing in the world? Even if there is, there must be a purpose. In short, great host, that's a bad thing. Then, after Kong-en leaves the country, delete all the information on that thing. Tangua paused and asked softly, I remember that you swallowed a system before. Can you swallow that phone this time? Dear host, can I swallow that thing? The system asked expectantly. I can definitely swallow it. As long as the host doesn't intend to give it to your wild brother, that phone will be my food. To be honest, Madam Host, although they are a little naughty, they are delicious. Tangua was speechless. She suspected that she had raised a perverted system that kept thinking about eating bad things. You won't be assimilated, will you? Chapter 3785. Host, what are you thinking? As long as I can defeat the other party, I can only assimilate the other party and convert their energy into my own. Moreover, I can also obtain all the other party's functions and information. Host, to be honest, if I encounter such a bad guy in the future, let me devour it. I believe that the Space Administration already has many similar things. They don't lack one or two. Besides, I might not be able to meet your wild brother. Anyway, it's a disaster, so I might as well eat it. Alright, if you encounter such a bad system in the future, they'll all be your food. Let me say this first, you must digest them before you can swallow one. If you can't digest them for the time being, save them first and eat them when you're hungry. Okay. After a year, Kong-en finally saved up a large sum of money. She didn't dare to choose anything too outrageous to sell technology products in the country because of the country's national conditions. The things she chose were all gadgets used in daily life, but they were much more advanced than the current ones. Therefore, although many companies wanted to rope Kong-en in, they weren't too persistent. Kong-en understood that she couldn't sell information that was too eye-catching. When the time came, not only would she not be able to earn money, but she might also be targeted by some departments. She couldn't guarantee that she could withstand it and not say anything. Besides, she had been too abnormal in the past. If she rashly took out something that would bring danger to herself, others would think that she was very suspicious. Then, she wouldn't be able to think about freedom for the rest of her life. After saving up the money, Kong-en quickly cut off contact with the companies she worked with. She started to prepare to go abroad. Her passport had already been prepared beforehand. A month later, Kong-en went abroad. She stood at the airport and looked back. After she earned more money abroad and settled down, she would never return here. Previously, she had gone online to look at her previous personal account and found that under her status, there were still people scolding her for being shameless every day. This made her very angry. Those haters liked to hold on to one thing and keep scolding her. It was especially boring. She didn't want to lower herself to the same level as those online keyboard users. Perhaps those who scolded her on the internet were living a very unhappy life. The moment Kong-en boarded the plane, she felt very comfortable and relaxed. Host, should I chase after the other party and swallow the other party's phone system? Go ahead. After getting Tangua's approval, the system was overjoyed and immediately chased after Kong-en. Kong-en was in a deep slumber and had no idea that the system had already taken action against her Goldfinger. Although she knew that the system was very powerful, Tangua still kept waiting. About half an hour later, she sensed that the system had returned. How is it? I've already swallowed it. Dear host, I need some time to digest it. There's a lot of information inside, and I'm very full. Kong-en is still in a deep slumber. He has no idea that his Goldfinger is missing. When Kong En woke up, he would probably be dumbfounded. Tang Gua didn't care what happened to Kong En. The current Kong En couldn't make any big waves, so he didn't have the ability to steal anyone's life. In that case, she could also guard the dream building station and peacefully lead her fine steeds in their old age. Kong En had been overseas for quite some time and had traveled everywhere. Indeed, he felt that the air was free. After that, she decisively used a large sum of money to move in and obtain permanent residency in the country she was in. She quickly emigrated. Chapter 3786. After that, she even posted on her WeChat moments, telling everyone that she would never go back. She didn't care at all that the people in her WeChat moments called her an idiot. Anyway, those people wouldn't understand how good her life was now. When she was almost done, half a year had passed. When she wanted to do something serious, she suddenly realized that the phone that was bound to her brain was gone. Kong En panicked and used all kinds of methods to find it, but she couldn't find it. She had spent a lot of money for more than half a year. The money she had left wasn't enough to live for the rest of her life. Kong En's money decreased day by day. In the end, she couldn't afford to hire a translator. With her half-baked knowledge of foreign languages, she could barely survive. The main thing was that the money she had invested was said to have been lost. She couldn't get a single cent. It was too late to regret now. The scariest thing was that she posted it in front of her WeChat moments. Everyone knew that she had emigrated. Basically, in this new country, it was difficult for her to move an inch. She could only count the money she had to spend every day to get by. In the end, she had no choice but to do odd jobs to earn money. It was very hard. Kong En was able to live a free life abroad as she wished. She was really free. Ordinary people would often apply for street demonstrations and clamor for freedom every day. Once there was such an action, she couldn't even think about working. If she didn't work, she wouldn't be able to earn money. Later, Kong En's biggest wish was to emigrate to her original country one day. After joining the new country, her life wasn't easy. It should be said that she was very sad. In her previous country, no matter what, she had the ability to live a more comfortable life. However, she didn't know anything. She only knew how to do odd jobs and didn't contribute anything. It was harder than ascending to the heavens for her to come back. Tang Gua didn't care about Kong En at all. The system swallowed Kong En's phone and digested it. It obtained all the functions inside. However, this function was more limited. It could only search for information in this small world. Of course, these things were already very heaven-defying for an ordinary person. Tang Gua was the station master of the dream building website until her death. During this period, the online world changed a lot. Only the dream building website retained its original intention and was called a pure land by the creator. Many people couldn't understand how a small website could accumulate so much wealth. What's more, he didn't understand why the head of the dream working station didn't understand and always left so much leeway for others when they could earn more wealth. Tang Gua didn't know what the dream station would become after she left. However, she had done everything she could. What would happen in the future would depend on the fate of the dream station. Hua Yan still left later than her. This had already become a rule. In the end, Hua Yan asked her if she had any regrets. She shook her head and said, "No, I've lived a very happy life." In this life, she had become a bolo for once. She had a group of money trees under her, and she was very happy to count money every day. I thought you would be a little, for example, not dying on the same day, month, and year as me. Another example was that the time he spent with me was too short. I didn't expect you to have no regrets at all. Hua Yan held Tang Gua's hand. Well, I'm just joking with you. I'll help you choose the most suitable person to manage the dream building station. I won't let your efforts go to waste. Chapter 3787. Well, let nature take its course. She really didn't care about what would happen to the dream station in the future. Everything in the world couldn't stay the same forever. The dream station was not unchanging. It had been maintained for so many years. She was not surprised or sad that one day the peace would be broken. I told them that you don't care so much about the dream station, but they didn't believe me. Hua Yen suddenly laughed. He glanced at White Sage and the others, who were standing next to him with tears in their eyes. He leaned over and kissed Tangua's forehead. Guagua, do you care about me? Of course. Then do you think I'm more important, or the dream station? Tangua looked back at White Saint and the others. They wiped their tears and didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Sister Tang, you don't have to care about our opinions. We all know that the dream building station is nothing to you. There is no Yuwang in your eyes at all. You only smile the happiest when you're with Brother Hua. Brother Hua is your treasure. We are all flowers and plants that you picked up along the way. Yi Yuling said, we won't be jealous. We are already very lucky that you can establish the dream station and make it a pure land. In the future, even if you are not here, our children and grandchildren will guard it. Try not to let it become like the public. Ji Yu continued. Although it was difficult. Tangua smiled and said, don't force yourself. It's not forced, but the dream station is of great significance to us. The old soldiers had a long life. Now they were more than 10 years old, but their bodies were still healthy. The dream station is my belief. Yes, it's our belief. Tangua didn't attack them. Perhaps when they were alive, they might not be able to keep it. They were all old uncles and aunties. How could they have so much experience to do this? Could their children and grandchildren think the same as them? She could already imagine that in the future, their children and grandchildren would argue, fall out, and quarrel over the dream station. Before I leave, I'll give you some gifts. Tangua asked the system to put some pills into the drawer before asking Hua Yen to take them. Hua Yen took out a plastic bag and took out the bottles inside. He looked at Tangua in confusion. Guagua, what are these? Heart-saving pills. Give each of them a bottle and keep it with them. Who knows, they might need it in the future. 200 pills per bottle. According to their age, it should be enough. White Saint and the others were speechless as they stared at the old lady who was lying on the bed and giving them pills. For a moment, they did not know what to say. Sister Tang, my body is still quite healthy. I shouldn't need the heart-saving pill. White Saint said. Tangua shook her head. Take it. You're an old man now. In the future, when the younger generation quarrels, you should take a heart-saving pill to guard against them, lest you lose your old life. This medicine has a long shelf life, so take it with you. If something goes wrong, just take one. I guarantee that you won't have to be afraid of quarreling with your juniors. In such an atmosphere, Tangua gave everyone a bottle of heart-saving pills and prepared to leave. Guagua, why don't I have a share? Hua Yen grabbed Tangua's hand as if he did not want her to leave. It was as if he wanted her to give a reason. Tangua shook his hand back. Our fates are connected. Brother Hua, you don't need the heart-saving pill. Actually, I feel it too. Hua Yen said with satisfaction. He leaned close to Tangua's ear. Wait for me. After Tangua left, White Saint and the other old men and women cried more miserably than the other. They even cried until they were out of breath. Ji Yu was slightly younger and reminded them to take a heart-saving pill before crying. After everyone took the heart-saving pill, they indeed felt much better. No matter how much they cried, it would not affect their health. So much so that many years later, when the younger generation in their family had conflicts and quarreled with each other, they would remember today's scene and take out a heart-saving pill in advance. The quarrel between the younger generation did not affect them in the slightest. Chapter 3788. Miss Tang, may I know why you asked me to come over today? Jing Anan was a pure and beautiful girl. She was wearing a simple dress and holding the coffee cup on the table with both hands, clearly uneasy. Tang Guo came back to her senses and heard this gentle voice. She looked up and sized up the timid girl in front of her. She looked to be around 20 years old and was very young. Tang Guo realized that the other party had been staring at her with stubbornness in her eyes. Only then did she realize that she was holding a check in her hand. She glanced at it casually and saw that it was 1,000,000 yuan. Instantly, she imagined a drama in her mind. Could it be that the original owner wanted to send this girl away with a check because of a certain man? How strange. What kind of man was worth 1,000,000 yuan? Under Jing Anan's strange gaze, Tang Guo put the check back into her wallet. Then, she took out her lipstick from her bag and started to touch up her makeup with a small mirror, as if taking out the check was just a misunderstanding. Nothing much. I just wanted to ask you out for a casual chat. Since she didn't know the exact situation, Tang Guo didn't want to expose too much. She decided to stay with the girl for a while before leaving. Is that so? Jing Anan obviously didn't believe her. She said softly, I thought Miss Tang came back for me because of Brother Zheng. After all, she had been standing beside Brother Zheng at the last gathering and could clearly feel that Miss Tang didn't look at her kindly. How could that be? Tang Guo smiled faintly. She had sized up her clothes just now. From the accessories on her body, she was definitely a rich girl. I just wanted to ask you out for a simple chat. Nothing else. Jing Anan still didn't believe it. It clearly wasn't like this before. Although Miss Tang still looked arrogant, her eyes weren't so gentle when she first looked at her. I heard that Brother Zheng and Miss Tang were originally engaged. I think it was Brother Zheng's grandfather and Miss Tang's grandfather who decided on it. Jing Anan became more and more uneasy. Later, because of me, Brother Zheng cancelled the engagement. Miss Tang, I know these words may be a little cruel to you. But I have to say that a forced relationship won't lead to happiness. Brother Zheng doesn't like you, so even a forced melon will be sweet. Besides, the elders made a verbal agreement without the consent of both parties involved. When Brother Zheng realized that it was impossible for such feelings to exist between him and Miss Tang, he decisively called off the engagement. This is being responsible to Miss Tang. Jing Anan said a lot in one breath, her heart beating fast. She was especially afraid that the rich young lady in front of her would be unhappy and splash coffee on her face. She clenched her fists tightly. Miss Tang is beautiful and has a good family background. You can definitely find a better marriage partner. Miss Tang, in the past, I was always running away. It was Brother Zheng who supported this relationship. He has done so much for me. I can't let him down and run away. Even if our identities don't match, we still have to try. Otherwise, he will be very sad. Tang Guo nodded lightly. I can see that you like him very much. Since you already know that your identities don't match, there will definitely be many difficulties in the future. Can you handle it? Chapter 3789. No matter what difficulties there are, as long as Brother Zheng likes me, I will have the courage to face them with him. Jing Anan plucked up the courage to say these words. When she found that Tang Guo was not angry and did not look at her fiercely, she finally let out a sigh of relief. When she came today, she was prepared to be put in a difficult position by this rich young lady. She did not expect that Miss Tang, who looked difficult to get along with, was actually not too bad. But some difficulties can't be solved just by liking him. Tangguo picked up her handbag. Okay, I still have something to do, so I can't talk to you today. Let's meet another day. Meet another day. Jing Anan wanted to ask why they had to meet again. There was nothing to meet, so it was better not to meet again. However, she couldn't bring herself to reject him. Miss Tang did not seem to be a bad person, but she looked a little domineering. If they could get along peacefully, then so be it. At most, she would be more careful. If Miss Tang scolded her, she would not talk back. After all, she really did have a marriage agreement with Brother Jing in the past. But she could not give up on Brother Jing. He had done so many things for her. She had to stand by his side and face all obstacles with him. Tangguo found her car according to the system's instructions. The system acted as a GPS and guided Tangguo all the way home. She was indeed not an ordinary person. She did live in a big villa. The moment she entered, a helper came up to her and asked if she wanted to have afternoon tea. She refused and returned to her room according to the system's instructions. After locking the door, she sat down on the sofa and made a comfortable pose. Then she closed her eyes and started to receive the memories of this world. The female lead of this world was the one she had seen in the coffee shop. Her name was Jing Anan. The male lead was the brother Jing she had mentioned. His full name was Jiang Wenjing. He had an extraordinary status and was in charge of a large company, which was comparable to the family Tang. She was not the first female lead in this world. According to the number of scenes she had, she could only be ranked third or fourth. She did not even have as many scenes as Jiang Wenjing's mother. The original host and Jiang Wenjing were indeed engaged verbally by their grandfathers. At that time, both families thought highly of them and thought that since they were well matched in terms of social status, they were most suitable to be together. From elementary school to high school, the original owner and Jiang Wenjing were in the same school. No matter which school they were in, when they stood together, they would be seen as a perfect couple. If they were together, everyone would be happy to see them. However, among them, only the original owner liked Jiang Wenjing since she was a child. Even if she was a proud young miss, in the eyes of many people, she was unattainable. But as long as she was beside Jiang Wenjing, she would always be quiet and well-behaved, looking at him with a pair of particularly attentive eyes. For Jiang Wenjing, she had done a lot of stupid things. But she didn't care. After all, this was the person she liked. All this changed with the appearance of Jing Anan. Jing Anan's appearance soon attracted Jiang Wenjing's attention. It was said that Jiang Wenjing was in a car accident when he went somewhere. Jing Anan happened to pass by and saved Jiang Wenjing. Because of this, she and Jiang Wenjing officially met. As time went by, they became more and more familiar with each other. From an outsider's point of view, Jiang Wenjing fell in love with a civilian girl and quarreled with his family several times. Chapter 3790. In fact, the person that the Jiang family was most satisfied with was Tangguo. After all, her family background was similar to Jiang Wenjing's. Therefore, they hated Jing Anan, a person who overestimated himself. When Jiang Wenjing was not there, Jing Anan was often embarrassed by the Jiang family. Jing Anan escaped at first, but Jiang Wenjing was a stubborn person. He not only resisted his parents for her, but also told Tangguo's grandfather that the engagement was invalid. After all, it was a verbal engagement between the elders of the two families. He didn't like Tangguo, and the family Tang's grandfather had no way to keep him, so he could only give up. Even so, the original owner still liked Jiang Wenjing very much, and she also hated Jing Anan a little. This time, she met Jing Anan in the coffee shop just to send Jing Anan away with 1 million yuan. In addition, she still had a recorder in her bag. She wanted to see if Jing Anan was a vain person. She knew that Jing Anan was actually short of money. If the other party took the 1 million yuan, Jiang Wenjing would be very disappointed. However, this had been stopped by Tang Guo. Her intuition told her that Jiang Wenjing was not worth 1 million yuan. After reading the memory, Tang Guo thought that Jiang Wenjing was not worth a dime. She felt that her previous practice was very wise. Speaking of Jing Anan, Tang Guo, the young lady who once had a little relationship with Jiang Wenjing. Jing Anan did not accept the 1 million yuan that was given to her at the beginning. Not only did she not accept it, but Jiang Wenjing also arrived at the scene. He ridiculed Tang Guo and left with Jing Anan. Invisibly, Jing Anan had gained a lot of hatred. Because the original owner was a young lady, in the future, many people would not go back to get close to Jing Anan for the sake of Tang Guo. In fact, they were helping Tang Guo because they were also jealous. How could Jing Anan, a civilian girl, be worthy of such an excellent person like Jiang Wenjing? Whether it was in the open or in the dark, they would torment Jing and Ani. According to the usual male and female lead, Jiang Wenjing would definitely arrive in time every time to help Jing Anan out. However, the situation in this world was very different. Most of the time, Jiang Wenjing's arrival was not very timely. It was always Jing Anan who was tortured by others before he came late to comfort Jing Anan. At the same time, he didn't do anything to those people who made things difficult for Jing Anan. It was indeed not in line with the male lead style. But every time Jing Anan was coaxed by Jiang Wenjing, he ignored everything and didn't care whether Jiang Wenjing would do anything or not. She also thought that these people definitely couldn't be treated this way casually, so she understood Jiang Wenjing's approach. Therefore, those people only apologized lightly. Chapter 3791. Jing Anan had always felt that Jiang Wenjing treated her the best. But when she saw how Jiang Wenjing treated Jiang Lin, she still felt a little uncomfortable. But when she remembered that they were siblings and didn't seem to have done anything that crossed the line, it was normal for Jiang Lin to feel uncomfortable when her brother suddenly got married. Therefore, she was more tolerant of Jiang Lin. But ever since Jiang Lin came back, no matter where she and Jiang Wenjing were, Jiang Lin would appear. She almost didn't give the two of them time to be together. At the same time, Jiang Wenjing was very indulgent of his sister. Sometimes, Jiang Lin would call someone over with just a phone call. In front of Jing Anan, Jiang Wenjing always said that Jiang Lin was his most important sister. After being coaxed a little, Jing Anan was coaxed again. One day, Jing Anan discovered a secret. Jiang Lin was actually her biological sister. The two sisters' parents died very early and were later sent to an orphanage. Unlike her, who was clumsy and couldn't speak when she was young, she wasn't that good-looking. Therefore, in the orphanage, her sister was adopted by a couple because she could speak, had a sweet mouth, and was cute. And she had been studying, growing up, and working in the orphanage. After the two sisters met, Jing Anan didn't care whether Jiang Wenjing was biased towards Jiang Lin at all. After all, she was her sister. Jiang Lin also changed her previous attitude and was much nicer to Jing Anan. She called her sister. Except for Mother Jiang, who sometimes made things difficult for Jing Anan, life was good. If that was the case, it would be too simple. One day, Jiang Lin fell into a coma and was diagnosed with a serious illness. There was a problem with her liver and she needed a liver transplant. Jing Anan was dumbfounded. She had just met her sister and such a thing happened. How could she accept that her sister would leave her forever one day? She had always felt that she hadn't taken good care of her sister. She had promised her parents that she would take good care of her sister. But because of her parents' departure, she had been silent and still couldn't change some of her personality. As a result, the stupidest thing was that they were twins. If she could speak a little, maybe the Jiang couple would adopt them together and they wouldn't have to suffer the pain of being in a coma. After such a big thing happened, Jing Anan didn't think at all and matched Jiang Lin. Of course, they were compatible. Then, they prepared for the surgery. In the end, Jiang Lin successfully swapped out a part of Jing Anan's liver and recovered her health. After Jiang Lin returned to normal, Jing Anan was finally at ease. He was even more careful with Jiang Lin, afraid that something would happen to her. It wasn't that she hadn't noticed that Jiang Wenjing treated her sister better than he did her. Sometimes, it even went beyond a certain boundary. However, when she thought about how this was her younger sister who had suffered so much and was in poor health, she endured all of this. About a year later, Jiang Lin fell ill again. This time, he needed a new kidney. Needless to say, she was paired with Jing Anan again. For the sake of his own sister, how could Jing Anan refuse? At that time, the scariest thing was that she was already 2 months pregnant. In order to save her sister, she had no choice but to abort the child. Surprisingly, neither the Jiang family nor Jiang Wenjing objected. The Jiang family was fine, but Jiang Wenjing didn't object at all. Jing Anan still felt very sad. Chapter 3792. She had already felt that Jiang Wenjing seemed to prefer her sister, Jiang Lin. Even so, she still liked Jiang Wenjing. For her sister's sake, she had to accept the operation. The operation went smoothly, but Jing Anan's body became very weak. From then on, Jiang Lin's body didn't have any more problems. Jing Anan thought that her life should be peaceful now. When her body recovered, she really wanted to have a child. Last time, she really hoped that the child could be born, but in order to save her sister, she had to choose to give up. Every day after that, she felt very guilty and felt that she had wronged the child. However, after a long time, she didn't get pregnant at all. Jiang Wenjing didn't make things difficult for her, but the Jiang family thought that she was not qualified. They thought that there was something wrong with her body and couldn't give birth to a grandson for the Jiang family, so they made things difficult for her. Jiang Wenjing seemed to be more and more indifferent to her. When the Jiang family asked Jiang Wenjing to divorce her, he actually agreed. Even if Jiang Wenjing promised to compensate her a lot of money, she would never agree. She didn't understand why Jiang Wenjing would let her go at this time when they were so in love. Was it really because of the child? Jing Anan and Jiang Wenjing had a cold war. Jiang Wenjing almost didn't care about her, which made her a little disheartened. One day, it was a month since they had a cold war. Before that, Jiang Wenjing once said that he would divorce her when she figured it out. He was cold and heartless. She really wanted to see Jiang Wenjing, so she didn't inform him and went directly to his office. She happened to see Jiang Wenjing and Jiang Lin hugging each other. At that time, Jiang Lin asked, "Brother Jing, I want to ask you something." "What's the matter?" "Brother Jing, I've been very conflicted before. I don't want to see you for the rest of my life. I think you don't like me and like someone else." "What are you talking about, Lin Lin? You're the most important person to me. The person I like has always been you." Jiang Wenjing comforted her. "Since the day you came to the Jiang family, you've been my treasure. So, Lin Lin, what do you want to ask?" "Brother Jing, I want to know that you didn't marry my sister because you wanted her to be my substitute, but because you wanted me to continue living. That's why you tried so hard to come up with such a solution, right?" Although Jiang Lin and Jing Anan were twins, they didn't necessarily look alike. Coupled with the environment they grew up in, it was easy to tell that they were two different people. Lin, what are you thinking? It's not like that. Jiang Wenjing denied, meeting her was just a coincidence. You were angry and left, saying that you would leave me forever. I was angry and happened to meet her. I accidentally mistook her for you and got married on impulse. I didn't expect her to be your sister. Of course, Jiang Wenjing was lying. He just didn't want Jiang Lin to feel burdened and didn't want her to know the truth. He wanted to separate from Jing Anan now because he understood his own feelings. He still liked Jiang Lin. As for Jing Anan, he would make it up to her. He was the only one who knew that Jiang Lin was sick. When she wanted to leave him, he panicked. In the end, he heard that she wanted to see her sister, so he had this idea. Knowing that Jing Anan was Jiang Lin's sister, he planned all of this. Chapter 3793. He had indeed married Jing Anan out of impulse to anger Jiang Lin, who had run away from home. He had always known Jiang Lin's whereabouts and thought that she would definitely run back when she heard the news of his marriage. He had to admit that he had indeed treated Jing Anan as Jiang Lin's substitute many times. They were sisters after all, and there were many similarities. Everything that happened after that was logical. He was not worried at all that Jing Anan would not change her liver for Jiang Lin. He had originally planned to divorce Jing Anan after the liver change and compensate her more as the price for his impulse. After all, the person he liked was Jiang Lin. However, he did not expect that Jiang Lin's kidney would have problems again. Fortunately, Jing Anan was there. Because of this, he felt that the stone in his heart had been lifted. Jing Anan was pregnant, and he did not want this child at all. Back then, it was also because of this child that he did not propose a divorce for the time being. Now that he had saved Jiang Lin and could abort the child, it was the best thing for him. Now that Jiang Lin had recovered, he thought that there was no need for him to continue with Jing Anan. He had to end that impulsive marriage. Otherwise, Jiang Lin would be angry and leave him again. Therefore, when the Jiang family made things difficult for Jing Anan, he chose to take advantage of the situation and divorce her. Of course, Jiang Lin knew that all of this must have been planned by Jiang Wenjing. She knew this man the best. They had grown up together. How could she not know his personality? When they were young, those classmates who bullied her and wanted to hit on her would be secretly dealt with by Jiang Wenjing. They would end up miserable. In the end, they could only hide far away from her. Whatever she wanted, he would do everything in his power to bring it to her. When she found out that he was married to someone else, she was furious. She was so angry that her heart ached. She knew very well how much this man liked her. She also knew that he might have married Jing Anan on impulse. This was the man she had been controlling for more than 10 years. Who could take him away? Part of the reason why she had run away before was that she was really desperate. She had actually contracted that kind of illness and wanted to go out to relax and wait for the hospital to match her. Another reason was that she knew that she had a biological sister. Speaking of this biological sister, she actually had resentment in her heart. When her parents were still alive, they preferred her quiet and gentle elder sister. They always said that her elder sister was more obedient than her, had better grades than her, and was more sensible. This caused a deep wound to her young heart. That was why she had purposely revealed that she had an elder sister and said that she missed her elder sister very much. According to her understanding of Jiang Wenjing, he would definitely try his best to find someone and then let her sister do the matching. Her biological younger sister was in trouble. How could her biological elder sister watch her die? No matter what, she had to help her biological younger sister. Originally, she had planned everything well. All she had to do was sit and wait for the results of the match. She didn't expect that Jiang Wenjing would marry Jing Anan. Because she was angry, she didn't go back. After they got married, she regretted it very much. She knew that this man's pride must have been hurt because he had been rejected by her time and time again. When she went back to take a look, she was furious. Not only did they get married, but they also became a real couple. The reason why she couldn't be with Jiang Wenjing was that they didn't dare to expose their relationship. Otherwise, the Jiang family wouldn't accept it. Most importantly, Jiang Wenjing was afraid that she would be hurt. Chapter 3794. She also understood that the Jiang family's parents doted on her a lot. But once she and Jiang Wenjing were really together and married, she would become a thorn in their side. Seeing Jing Anan and Jiang Wenjing loving each other on the surface, she was jealous and angry. When she was young, her parents always paid attention to Jing Anan. When she grew up, Jing Anan was still haunting her. She took away the person she liked and ruined her happy days. Therefore, she pretended to be ignorant and made things difficult for Jing Anan. Thinking that they were biological sisters, she asked Jiang Wenjing to find Jing Anan. Wasn't it because she wanted to live? Therefore, she inadvertently let Jing Anan know that she was her biological sister. Her illness couldn't be delayed. She had been waiting to find a suitable match, but there was no news. Jing Anan was her only chance to live now. Thinking that she could cut a part of her liver for her, she was very happy. Later, she suffered from kidney disease, and Jiang Lin was desperate. It wasn't easy for her to live such a life. She was sick here and there. She and Jing Anan were twin sisters. Why was the other party fine? She even suspected that Jing Anan had robbed her of all the nutrients when she was in her stomach, which was why she had so many illnesses now. Therefore, she let Jing Anan pay for her illness. Now that she didn't need Jing Anan, she naturally had to drive her away. The main reason was that she felt that Jiang Wenjing was a little different to Jing Anan. This feeling made her panic. Fortunately, Jing Anan wasn't liked by the Jiang family, and now she couldn't have a child for a while. If she appeared in front of Jiang Wenjing again and acted worried about gains and losses, he would definitely drive Jing Anan away without hesitation. Jing Anan heard the whispers of the two in the office and was very desperate. Countless coincidences made her understand why Jiang Wenjing married her. In desperation, Jing Anan finally agreed to divorce. As for the money given by the Jiang family, she didn't take a single cent. It was raining heavily that day. Jing Anan left and fainted halfway. Ming Huan happened to find her and sent her to the hospital. Ming Huan and Jing Anan were old friends, and he had always liked her. In the end, the hospital actually found out that Jing Anan was pregnant. Perhaps it was because her body was weak, the child's condition was not very good. Jing Anan didn't want to keep the baby, but she couldn't bear to. After all, she had already aborted one. In the end, she decided to keep the baby. Ming Huan didn't mind and took Jing Anan to one of his houses to take care of her. After Jing Anan left, Jiang Wenjing felt that something was wrong. In addition, the Jiang family's parents urged him to get married as soon as possible. They wanted a grandchild. Moreover, the Jiang family also needed an heir. He had wanted to give it his all and marry Jiang Lin. However, Jiang Lin did not agree. She was not willing to give up her current life as a little princess. Once she married Jiang Wenjing, she would be going against everyone in the Jiang family. After all, she was just an orphan. Now that she was the young lady of the Jiang family, not only could she win the love of Jiang Wenjing, but she could also be doted on by the Jiang family. But she couldn't tell him the truth. She just said that she was satisfied that she could hide in a dark corner and silently accompany Jiang Wenjing. She didn't want Jiang Wenjing to fall out with the Jiang family because of her. Otherwise, she would suffer for the rest of her life. Now that her health was not good, even if she really got married, she could not have children. Chapter 3795. To be honest, Jiang Lin didn't want to have a child at all. She cherished her life very much. If she had a child, she didn't know what kind of risks she would face. She didn't want to. She just wanted to be the little princess of the Jiang family and enjoy the love of her parents and Jiang Wenjing. As long as Jiang Wenjing liked her and cared about her in his heart, he could marry a decoration. Of course, Jing An couldn't. In her observation, Jing An was a little different from Jiang Wenjing. Jiang Wenjing felt that Jiang Lin had made up her mind and said that she was thinking about him. She decided to protect him for the rest of her life. So, he decided to listen to his parents' arrangement and marry a woman of equal social status to be a decoration. At that time, he would pretend that he was forced. If the woman was still willing, then don't blame him for neglecting her after marriage. This was her own choice. The Jiang family had always regretted that they didn't marry the family Tang. This time, they set their sights on the original host. The original host liked Jiang Wenjing since she was a child. When she knew that he was really married, she gave up. The Jiang family announced to the public that Jiang Wenjing and Jing An didn't get along and had divorced. In the end, the original host married into the Jiang family. On the first day, Jiang Wenjing told her that his parents forced him to marry her. So, after entering this door and sitting in the position of Mrs. Jiang, she didn't think about anything else. Of course, the original host was sad, but she disobeyed her grandfather's words and chose to marry into the Jiang family without hesitation. She couldn't get away. She thought that time could change a person. Every day, she hoped that one day, Jiang Wenjing would change his mind. Jiang Lin later moved out. In order to see her, Jiang Wenjing often went to the villa and didn't return home at all. One could imagine what kind of life the original host had in the Jiang family. Fortunately, because of her background, the Jiang family didn't dare to do anything to her. The only person who could make her bow her head and be a concubine was Jiang Wenjing. For the sake of the family Tang relationship, the Jiang family didn't dare to do anything to her. It was not as intimate as before. It was polite and a little strange. It seemed that they knew that she couldn't capture Jiang Wenjing's heart and was useless. They had thought about it. If their son really couldn't accept it, they could have a child in the future. Anyway, as long as it was the blood of the Jiang family, it didn't matter whether it was from the original host or not. The old man of the family Tang sect did not have many years left. By then, wouldn't the family Tang sect be theirs? Therefore, they had always treated the original Jiang Wenjing with respect and politeness. They even persuaded her that Jiang Wenjing would understand one day and return to her side. When the original owner didn't know, Jiang Wenjing and Jing An were playing a sadistic love game. In the end, they developed feelings for each other. Especially after knowing that Jing An had given birth to his child, his attitude changed again. But this world was full of sadistic relationships. Even though they had a child, Jing An was still tortured badly. Every time, Jing An would be tormented half to death, but miraculously, he would be alive and kicking again, unable to die no matter what. The child's life was also full of misfortune. She was either kidnapped or lost. She didn't know why all the misfortune in the world fell on her. Until the time when Jing An really almost lost his life and disappeared, Jiang Wenjing finally realized that he had fallen in love with her. Meanwhile, Jiang Lin's true colors were gradually exposed. Because of some business secrets, she had angered Jiang Wenjing and thoroughly disliked her. In the end, Jiang Wenjing personally sent him to prison. Chapter 3796. In the end, Jiang Wenjing found Jing and who was bruised all over like a rag doll. Like a madman, he announced that she was his woman. But Jing and was hurt again and again. She didn't want to be with him at all. She just wanted to escape from that cage. The second male lead, Ming Huan, because of saving her, was ruined by Jiang Wenjing. He even broke a leg. The previous host once went to find Jiang Wenjing and inquired about the villa where Jing and lived. Seeing Jing and An's miserable state, she finally understood that Jiang Wenjing was a devil. She couldn't bear Jing and living like hell every day. She sympathized and planned to take Jing and out. Jing and lived a good life for a few days, but she was soon discovered and was locked up by Jiang Wenjing. And the previous host who helped Jing and was almost strangled to death by Jiang Wenjing. Jiang Wenjing thought that the previous host was jealous and wanted men, so he found a group of men for her. After the matter was over, he ruthlessly sold the previous host. The previous host was tortured to death and Jing and became a clay doll in Jiang Wenjing's hands. He could do whatever he wanted with her. But in the eyes of the outside world, Jiang Wenjing was very careful with Jing and. He was afraid that she would be hurt even a little. The above was all the stories of this world. A story with several people's tragedies. After Tanguo finished reading, she let out a long sigh. Jiang Wenjing was a pervert. Once again, it proved that many women who fell in love really had zero IQ. Host, how is it? I've seen a lot of similar stories before. I didn't expect that one day we would transmigrate to such a world. Isn't it exciting? It's a little exciting. Now I really want to beat that pervert. Jiang Wenjing was really a cruel person, whether it was to Jing and An or the previous host. He was simply a devil. Host, looking at your scheming appearance, you should have thought of how to deal with Jiang Wenjing, right? Well, he likes to let others donate livers, kidneys, etc. I think it's better to let him experience it once. Anyway, he loves Jiang Lin so much, right? He should be willing to make a sacrifice for his true love, right? Tongzi, help me connect the group to my phone. I have something to do with Emmanuel. The technology of changing genes was very mature in the interstellar. School bell. Hello everyone, I've arrived in the new world. Is Emmanuel there? I'm asking you for help this time. Ziyun, hello sister, seeing you appear, I'll go into seclusion with peace of mind. Qi Xiao, hurry up and go. The girl will be fine. We are still here. Why did you have to wait? Can't we have so many peoples of you? Mose, come out, sister is looking for you. Shangguan Yonggu, hello, martial uncle. What story did you encounter this time? Shangguan Yonggu was already used to it. He couldn't help but admire his martial uncle in his heart. His martial uncle was really too awesome, when would he have such an ability? Emmanuel, I'm coming. What can I do for you? Campus bell. Margaret, sure enough, it's still not my turn. God of creation, you're really too cruel. I don't even scold you now. I don't know when you'll send the school bell to my side. Dear God of creation, the most handsome and mighty God of creation, as long as you let the school bell appear in my world, I, Margaret, am willing to believe in you and only you for life. Chapter 3797. Harold, it's useless. The creator of the universe is usually in a deep sleep and can't hear you. That guy, Alan, took the students out for training. I feel like I can have a good chat with him in the group. Finally, I don't have to fight with him. School bell, here's the thing. I want two kinds of drugs. One can change the genes of the human body, and the other can assimilate the genes of two people. Other than the blood type, it can also match the organs in their bodies. You should be able to understand what I'm saying, right? Emmanuel, I understand. Interstellar's technology in this area is quite mature. I can get both of them for you. Campus Bell, thank you. Emmanuel, you're welcome. Last time, you helped me buy a lot of antiques and books from the modern world. Those old guys in Interstellar were overjoyed. After that, Tanguy told them the story of this world. Everyone in the group was furious. They had to scold them to feel better. Tanguy also found that there were many documents shared in the group. She clicked on them and found that they were uploaded by Emmanuel and Billy. They seemed to be from Interstellar's TV series. Her heart skipped a beat. She felt that she should buy some entertainment products from this world when she was free and share them with the group. Not long after, Emmanuel appeared again. Emmanuel, the red liquid can change a person's genes. It can be taken orally. Once it changes, it will be like what Campus Bell said. No one else can match her blood type. The green liquid is a gene fusion agent. It can be used by taking two people's blood, mixing it evenly, and letting them drink it. Then, they will be able to match without changing their blood type. Interstellar invented this agent because the artificial organs were not mature and the success rate was too low. Many people couldn't wait any longer. Hence, this agent was created. As long as a family member who didn't match the blood type is willing to donate, the agent can be used. The people in the group knew what Tanguy wanted to do. They only felt that this result was very satisfying. That scumbag had cut his own flesh to save his true love. Tanguy chatted with them for a while more. Because she still had work to do, she left the group. After she left the group, she didn't know that there was a change in the member list. The number of online members had increased by 1. Of course, the people in the group did not deliberately pay attention to that side. No one noticed that there was an additional name at the bottom of the list. After opening her eyes, Tanguy took out her phone and called Jing Anan. Miss Tang, is there anything else? Jing Anan's voice was full of uneasiness. She didn't know if Miss Tang had changed her mind and hadn't scolded her. Tanguy's lips curled up slightly. Miss Jing, let's meet again. Your words today seem to have touched me, so I want to hear you say it again. Perhaps you can successfully dispel the feelings of jealousy and hatred in my heart. I think you're right about one thing. I'm so outstanding that I can find any man I want. So, if you say something like that to me again tomorrow, I won't bother you anymore. Is it like this? Jing Anan was particularly puzzled. Was this how the eldest daughter of a rich family enlightened herself? At the party, she had heard many people say that Miss Tang had liked Jiang Wenjing for many years. Chapter 3798. She had been with Jiang Wenjing since elementary school until high school. Everyone thought they were a couple, even if Jiang Wenjing never admitted it. But everyone could feel Miss Tang's love for Jiang Wenjing. Now that she had enlightened the other party with just a few words, it sounded unbelievable. Let's do it tomorrow afternoon. It's the weekend and you should have nothing else to do. Then. All right. Miss Tang's voice sounded polite, and it didn't sound like she was looking for trouble with her. If she could really help Miss Tang think it through, it would be a good thing. She really felt that Jiang Wenjing didn't like Miss Tang. Miss Tang was so outstanding that she could find someone better. There was no need to pester her. Today's interaction made Jing Anan feel that Miss Tang wasn't as scary as she thought. She wasn't like those people at the party who always looked for trouble. Tongzi, Help me find out where Jianglin is now. Okay, Miss Host. The next day, Tang Gua and Jing Anan met again. Although Jing Anan had arrived early, he found that Tang Gua had been there for a long time. I'm sorry, Miss Tang. I'm late. It's okay. I'm early. Have a seat. I ordered an iced Coke for you. Drink it to cool down. You can start praising me when you're cooler. Jing Anan was speechless. There seemed to be something wrong with this Miss Tang. She took a sip of the iced Coke. Maybe it was too hot, so she quickly drank a few mouthfuls. Then, she smiled at Tang Gua shyly. Finish it. I'll order more. In front of Tang Gua, Jing Anan seemed to have no way to refuse, because the other party's aura was too strong. She quickly finished the Coke and Tang Gua ordered a room temperature drink for her. It's not good to drink too much cold stuff. That big glass just now is enough, Tang Gua explained. Jing Anan nodded quickly. Miss Tang, you're really a careful person. She was actually very confused. Why didn't Jiang Wenjing like Miss Tang, who was so perfect? Why did he have to like her? Later on, he felt that it wasn't a good idea to think this way. After all, who could be clear about matters of the heart? You can praise me now. Praise that I'm excellent and that Jiang Wenjing doesn't deserve me. When I'm satisfied, I won't trouble you anymore. Jing Anan was not nervous at all now. He only felt that Miss Tang was really interesting. It seemed that Miss Tang was not allowed to make things difficult for her. Or was it because she was very proud and wanted to find a way out? Therefore, Jing Anan did what he was not good at, which was praising people. Within 5 minutes, he had praised Tang Gua to the skies. It was mainly because she had done her homework last night. She found a lot of compliments on the internet and read them a few times. She could almost memorize them. Well, that's about it. How can Jiang Wenjing be worthy of such an excellent person like me? I won't trouble you in the future. Tang Gua paid the bill and planned to leave. When she reached the door, she turned back and said, If you feel uncomfortable staying in the Jiang family one day, you can leave. It was impossible to persuade Jing Anan to give up on marrying Jiang Wenjing. Anyway, the person whose liver would be dug out in the future would be Jiang Wenjing. Jing Anan would at most be a little hurt in the heart, which was not a big problem. If she still didn't leave, she deserved to be abused. Jing Anan looked at Tang Gua's back and shook his head. This Miss Tang was actually very nice. She was approachable, good-looking and caring. She had misunderstood her before. Chapter 3799. Jing Anan's genes had been modified, so there were only Jiang Wenjing and Jiang Lin left. Jiang Lin lived far away from here, so Tang Gua decided to take Jiang Wenjing's blood first. She asked the system to pay attention to Jiang Wenjing's actions and put a sack on him when she found an opportunity. At present, Jiang Wenjing and Jing Anan were not married yet. Jing Anan rented a house in a shabby old community. She insisted on not accepting money from Jiang Wenjing, lest others say that she was with him for money. She even promised the Jiang family that she could sign a prenuptial agreement to show that she was not after money. With Jiang Wenjing's strength, no one in the Jiang family objected. The main reason was that they thought that if they signed a prenuptial agreement, it would be a temporary interest of their son. When he lost interest, the divorce would not affect anything. They reluctantly agreed to the marriage, so as not to make a scene. Jiang Wenjing occasionally went to Jing Anan's house for dinner, so he had to walk through this dark alley. There was no way to drive in. Tang Gua had been waiting for an opportunity. On a Friday night, she finally got it. She changed into sportswear in the car and waited in the alley with a sack in her hand. When Jiang Wenjing came over, she put a sack on his head and then punched and kicked him. Jiang Wenjing was no match for her. He was beaten up and had no room to resist. When Tang Guo left, she did not forget to take a little blood from him. She did not make a sound during the whole process. Jiang Wenjing, who was beaten up, got up after a long time and appeared in front of Jing Ainan's house awkwardly. Of course, he was sympathized with again. After taking Jiang Wenjing's blood, the system also found the whereabouts of Jiang Lin. Tang Guo also flew to the city where Jiang Lin lived. Of course, they knew each other. In front of outsiders, Jiang Lin acted like a younger sister. Except for Jiang Wenjing, who doted on her, no one thought that there would be any ambiguity between them. Jiang Lin liked Jiang Wenjing, but her love for him was far less than her love for herself. Jiang Lin liked to make friends with some upper-class ladies, so although she was not very close to Tang Guo, she was quite familiar with her. Even if Tang Guo liked Jiang Wenjing, Jiang Lin was not angry. Instead, she was very proud. After all, Tang Guo had spent a lot of effort chasing Jiang Wenjing for so many years, but she did not get him to turn back. Such a person could not be her rival in love at all, so there was no need to worry. Furthermore, the other party was the daughter of the Tang family. Building a good relationship with her was the most important thing. Tang Guo and Jiang Lin met by chance, and Jiang Lin didn't suspect anything at all. Perhaps it was because of her illness, her complexion was a little pale, and her mood was not very good. But the person who came was Tang Guo, so she was still full of energy. Sister, why are you here? I came out to relax. I didn't expect to meet you here. Why are you here? Jiang Lin said, I also came out to relax. You don't look very happy. Your face is very pale. Are you sick? Tang Guo observed carefully. Jiang Lin didn't avoid her gaze. This matter could not be hidden for long. Of course, she did not answer Tang Guo's question. Jiang Lin was good at making people want to know but not say it. But Tang Guo was more direct. She directly grabbed Jiang Lin's hand and said, seeing that you are not in good condition, I will take you to the hospital for a checkup. Check and take some blood. System, okay. Chapter 3800. Jiang Lin could not dissuade Tang Guo. At this time, she really needed to be pitied. She was furious when she found out that Jiang Wenjing was going to marry Jing Ainan, but she did not want to lose face and go back at this time. The main reason was that she believed that if she wanted to get Jiang Wenjing back, she only needed to beckon with her finger. It would not take much effort at all. After successfully obtaining Jiang Lin's blood, Tang Guo comforted her, this is not a serious problem. As long as you find a suitable match, you can have the operation immediately. Just wait for a while. I'm sure you will find a suitable match soon. Sister Xiaoguo, you're the best. Of course, Jiang Lin could not show that she already knew about Jiang Wenjing and Jing Ainan. Of course, she did not want Tang Guo to tell her either. She had to wait for a while before she went back and snatched the married Jiang Wenjing back to teach Jing Ainan a lesson. Tang Guo did not care about Jiang Lin's thoughts. She wanted to fuse their blood and let Jiang Lin take the mixture. So, she decided to stay for a few more days. I'll stay with you for a few days. Of course, Jiang Lin was happy and quickly agreed. After all, Tang Guo was a real heiress, unlike her who was living under someone else's roof. Now, the family Tang only had elder Tang and Tang Guo. So, in the future, Tang Core would definitely be handed over to Tang Guo. There were many benefits to being on good terms with the future owner of Tang Core. Tang Guo stayed for 2 days. After Jiang Lin took the mixture, she comforted her and said goodbye, telling her to go back early. When Tang Guo returned to the original city, she found that Jiang Wenjing was already planning his wedding with Jing Anan. She did not know if he was doing it for Jing Anan, for Jiang Lin, or for himself. This time, Jiang Wenjing made the wedding special. As the wedding approached, Tang Guo took the opportunity to call Jiang Wenjing. A cold voice came from the other end, "I'm getting married. It's impossible between us. Then let's have a farewell dinner." Tang Guo found an excuse. "I've met Miss Jing before, and she's indeed gentle and pleasant. I didn't expect you to like her. I can't change it even if you want me to. Now that both of you are going to get married, do you think I will still shamelessly cling to you? Let's just have a farewell dinner and pretend that everything is over." Jiang Wenjing did not want to fall out with the Tang family. The two families had some friendship and might cooperate in the future. Most importantly, it was not easy for him to get married. If he fell out with the family, his parents would definitely stop him. "Alright, you better not play any tricks." Tang Guo thought to herself, "I'm not playing any tricks. I'm just asking you to come over for a meal. It's that simple. I'll mix in some other stuff along the way." Tang Guo booked a table in the restaurant and waited for the waiter to pour the wine. She added the fusion agent into the glass when no one was paying attention. Jiang Wenjing came late and was on guard the whole time. But when he saw that Tang Guo was really calm, he asked, "Is it really a farewell dinner?" "Yes, after this farewell dinner, we have nothing to do with each other." Tang Guo picked up the goblet and toasted. "Come on, have a drink. Just one drink." "What? You don't even want to give me face." Jiang Wenjing had already asked the driver to wait downstairs. He was not afraid that Tang Guo would do something to the glass. He simply drank the red wine in the glass. Later, Tang Guo slowly enjoyed the steak. She did not say anything strange during the whole process. It seemed that she really understood, which made Jiang Wenjing feel strange and a little uncomfortable. Chapter 38:01. Didn't she say that she liked him? She had liked him for so many years. How could she forget him so easily? Oh, this was other women's love. It was really short-lived. No one could compare to his Lin Lin. Thinking of Jiang Lin, Jiang Wenjing was a little angry. He was about to get married, but Lin Lin had no reaction at all. Could it be that she was really going to watch him get married? Tang Guo said goodbye to him after eating and drinking to her heart's content. Now everything was ready. She was just waiting for the fire to burn. She was looking forward to what would happen next. Not only did she want Jiang Wenjing to cut off his own flesh, but she also wanted him to lose everything. She wanted him to live in pain for the rest of his life, but she was reluctant to die. If she didn't do this, it would be really difficult to vent the anger in her heart. Because the original owner really liked him, she didn't seem very smart and did stupid things for the sake of love. However, she was treated as a decoration by him just because she liked him. And because she sympathized with him, she was treated so cruelly. Everything that Jiang Wenjing had done had really crossed her bottom line, causing a raging fire to burn in her heart. Only by taking revenge would the fire in her heart slowly extinguish. Tang Guo really didn't make trouble for him. Jiang Wenjing always felt uncomfortable in his heart. But now it was time to get married. He was especially looking forward to Jiang Lin coming back to stop all this. In fact, if they didn't get married, Jing Anan would be willing to donate Jiang Lin's body after knowing her situation. One of the purposes of his marriage was to annoy Jiang Lin. Another reason was that Jing Anan always had Jiang Lin's shadow in him. He was always involuntarily attracted to her and approached her. This feeling was very strange. In the end, it developed like this. Especially when Jiang Lin didn't come back, he simply went all the way. He would marry her first and see if Jiang Lin was anxious. On the eve of Jing Ainan's wedding, Tang Guo asked her out again. "Miss Tang, are you unhappy in your heart? Do you want me to praise you?" Jing Ainan looked at Tang Guo helplessly. "Then I'll praise you more." Seeing that Jing Ainan was about to praise her, Tang Guo raised her hand to stop him. "No, I just want to see you. Now I don't like Jiang Wenjing anymore. I think I'm a fairy and he doesn't deserve me." Jing Ainan smiled awkwardly. Miss Tang was nice and interesting, but he didn't expect her to be so narcissistic. Of course, she was also a little cute. She was really a proud young lady. Such a person should be very kind-hearted. Thinking of this, she felt a little guilty. "Okay, don't look at me sympathetically. I don't think Jiang Wenjing is good at all. I've liked him for so long, but he's always been arrogant like a king. He doesn't even turn his head. It's meaningless. I have so many suitors around me, and none of them are worse than him. Why must I hang myself on this crooked tree?" Jing Ainan wanted to say that Jiang Wenjing was actually very gentle and not a crooked tree. However, if he said that, it would inevitably hurt the other party, so he could only try his best to hold it in. "What can I do for you, Miss Tang?" Jing Ainan asked cautiously. "Why do I have to look for you? Can't we have tea and chat?" Jing Ainan said. She was a rich young lady and had countless close friends of the same level. It would be better for her to find anyone than her. However, she didn't dare to say these words, for fear of angering the other party. "In fact, it's nothing. Are you really going to marry Jiang Wenjing?" Chapter 3802. "Yes, Miss Tang, do you still like him very much?" "No, I'm just saying. I don't want to stop you from getting married. I just want to remind you that it's not so easy to stay in a rich family. You don't know how much you will be wronged in the future. I'm already mentally prepared." This mental preparation made her use all her courage. "Then let's drink tea and talk about something else." Tang Guo just came over to test her attitude. The current Jing Ainan was just like the original owner who had been possessed. Her heart was on Jiang Wenjing. After chatting for an afternoon, Jing Ainan's impression of Tang Guo changed again. In particular, Tang Guo casually told her some things about the rich family, which really benefited her a lot. "System, I suspect that the host is testing whether Jing Ainan is a qualified cow. It's impossible for the host to marry Jiang Wenjing. However, if Jing Ainan can be turned, it's equivalent to entering the enemy's inner circle." Jiang Wenjing and Jing Ainan's wedding was held as scheduled, and Tang Guo also went to attend. On that day, many people stared at her, thinking that she would make trouble, especially her family Tang, who kept watching her for fear that something would go wrong. But Tang Guo was particularly quiet during the whole process. It didn't seem like she was making trouble at all. She was really like an ordinary guest who came to attend the wedding. Many ladies were waiting for Tang Guo to make trouble, but until the end of the wedding, Tang Guo didn't say a word, which disappointed them. Tang Guo didn't make trouble, and that person who didn't know what kind of luck really married into a rich family. After a grand wedding, the guests also dispersed and returned to peace. But for a few days, the circle was talking about Jing Ainan's good luck in marrying into the rich Jiang family. Tang Guo drank tea at home and occasionally went to the company to see the situation. Because the original owner was infatuated with Jiang Wenjing, grandfather Tang didn't feel at ease with her. He didn't give her the power to manage the company, but gave her a relatively leisurely position. The original owner was quite satisfied. After all, she needed more time to chase Jiang Wenjing. Tang Guo wasn't in a hurry, it would be her sooner or later anyway. Once the old man saw her performance, he would hand over the company to her with peace of mind. To be honest, she found it too troublesome to manage these things. After a while, Jiang Lin finally returned. Tang Gua sat and watched the farce in the Jiang family. Jing Anan had her phone number. One day, Jing Anan called her and said happily, "Miss Tang, let me tell you a piece of good news. I've found my sister, my biological sister. She's actually the adopted daughter of the Jiang family, Jiang Lin. So, this must be fate, right?" Tang Gua didn't quite understand why Jing Anan would share such news with her, but she still responded with a few words of congratulations and didn't say anything to dampen the mood. This child didn't have it easy. It was better to let her be happy for a few more days. Sure enough, in less than 3 days, Jing Anan called her again. This time, she sounded like she was crying. "Miss Tang, Lin is sick. It's very serious. She needs a liver transplant. I went for a match today. I'm still waiting for the results. I don't know if it's a match. I'm really worried." "Don't worry. It's not a serious illness. In today's medical environment, as long as there's a match, your sister will definitely be saved. With the resources of the Jiang family, I'm sure they'll find it soon." Jing Anan was comforted. "Thank you, Miss Tang. You're so busy, but you still listen to my nonsense. It's okay. I'm used to it." Before hanging up, Tang Gua asked, "When will the results come out?" When the time came, she would also go and have a look. At the same time, she would also help Jiang Wenjing to have a match. System, very bad. Chapter 3803. Basically, no matter what Tang Gua asked, Jing Anan would tell her everything. After knowing when the results would be out, Tang Gua said that she would go and take a look. After all, she knew Jiang Lin and they were quite close. Jing Anan didn't suspect anything. After all, Tang Gua and Jiang Lin were quite close. On the day of the results, Tang Gua went as promised. Jiang Lin was currently in the hospital. With her physical condition, it was better for her to stay in the hospital. The Jiang family didn't expect Jiang Lin to be sick and were very worried. Now that Jing Anan was willing to be a match for Jiang Lin, they were relieved that Jing Anan wasn't so annoying. That day, the Jiang couple also came, but they went to Jiang Lin's ward to see her. Jing Anan and Jiang Wenjing were waiting for the results. Seeing Tang Gua, Jing Anan was very happy, but Jiang Wenjing was a little confused. Ever since the last farewell dinner, Tang Gua didn't show up in front of him every day. Now that he was married, it was normal for Tang Gua to stay away from him like this, but when he thought of the little girl who always liked to follow behind him, and said that she wouldn't follow him anymore, he felt a little uncomfortable in his heart. But when he saw Tang Gua, Jiang Wenjing subconsciously asked, "What are you doing here?" TSK, that look, that tone, it was as if Tang Gua was looking for trouble, planning to snatch away a married man like him. Tang Gua didn't even look at him. She walked straight to Jing Anan and asked, "Are the results out?" "Miss Tang, it's still a while. About 9 o'clock. There are still 10 minutes. I'm very anxious, so I'm waiting here." Jing Anan was very embarrassed. "I'm really sorry to make you come all the way here. After all, I know Jiang Lin. It's such a big thing, so I have to come and see. Your biological sisters. If there's no accident, you'll definitely be a match. Don't worry. I think so too." Jing Anan clenched his fists tightly, and his face was full of expectation. His silly look made Tang Gua couldn't help laughing, which made Jing Anan a little confused. However, she didn't sense any malice in Miss Tang's eyes. Miss Tang was really a good person. If it weren't for the fact that he had interacted with her so many times, he might have really listened to those people at the party and said bad things about Miss Tang. It was better to interact with people personally to know whether they were good or bad. It was better not to believe whatever others said. Jiang Wenjing saw that Tang Guo and Jing Anan were chatting passionately. It seemed that they didn't take him seriously at all. No, it should be said that they treated him as air. There was a kind of nameless anger in his heart that he didn't know how to vent. But in the current situation, he really couldn't find trouble with her for no reason. This anger could only be suppressed in his heart, making him feel especially uncomfortable. It was almost 9:00 when the results were finally out. When the doctor in charge of the match told them that Jing Anan and Jiang Lin were not a match, Jing Anan collapsed to the ground with tears rolling down his cheeks. In an instant, he was sobbing uncontrollably. Jiang Wenjing was a little dumbfounded when he heard the result. He had carefully planned all this, but the result was that they were not a match. Didn't all his planning go to waste? They were sisters. How could they not be a match? Chapter 38:04. Jiang Wenjing didn't believe it. If he hadn't tried his best to control himself, he would have asked the doctor to do a new match. However, he clearly understood that the hospital was definitely not joking about this matter, and it was impossible for them to do anything. Looking at Jing Anan's expression, she wanted to save Lin Lin more than anyone else. Therefore, it really couldn't be done. Doctor, are you mistaken? Lin Lin and I are biological sisters. How can we not be a match? We have the same blood in our bodies, and we're twins. Other than looking different, we should be the most similar in everything else. How can we not be a match? You're twins, and it's not like such a situation doesn't exist. Although the probability is very small, it doesn't mean that a match between relatives will be a perfect match. So, I'm sorry. Jing Anan knew that she was forcing him. She had thought of many results, but she didn't think of this. Although Jiang Lin's illness could wait, the longer it went on, the worse it would get. At that time, it would have a great impact on her body, and the success rate of the surgery would naturally be reduced. What was even more terrifying was that what if they couldn't find a suitable match in the end? This kind of situation wasn't unheard of. Jiang Wenjing was very anxious. In fact, in addition to looking for Jing Anan, he had also used a lot of effort to find a match for Jiang Lin, but after so long, he still couldn't find one. Now that Jing Anan couldn't match, it really made him anxious. After the two of them calmed down, they returned to the ward. When Jiang Lin saw that Tang Guo had also come, she was a little happy to greet her. After all, at this time, Miss Tang from the family came to see her, which meant that she was still important to her. She was now looking forward to asking Jing Anan to cut a part of her liver for her. She was so seriously ill, and she wanted to let Jing Anan feel this pain. However, when she saw Jing Anan's red eyes and how she was trying her best to endure and control her emotions, she felt a little bad. The Jiang couple seemed to have seen something, and the smile on their faces disappeared. They were not in the mood to be friendly with Tang Guo and only greeted her briefly. The couple called Jiang Wenjing out with ugly expressions. No one knew what they were talking about. It was probably about Jing Anan's mismatch. Jing Anan looked at Jiang Lin pitifully. Jiang Lin was actually very annoyed, but she still had to pretend to be a sister on the surface. If she did not pretend, she was afraid that the other party would not give her his liver. However, Jing Anan kept looking at her as she wiped her tears, as if she was very pitiful. This made Jiang Lin's premonition get worse and worse. Finally, Jiang Lin lost her patience and asked, "Sister, why are you crying all the time? What happened? Just tell me." Now, Jiang Lin had already guessed that it might be related to her surgery. She did not feel very good. "Don't cry all the time. If you have something to say, just say it. I can handle it." In fact, Jiang Lin was especially flustered. She added, "If you don't want to exchange, then forget it. I'll get Brother Ah Zheng to help me find another one. I know it's unfair for you to help me." It didn't sound wrong, but after Jing Ainen heard it, it made her feel guilty. It was as if he would owe Jiang Lin anything if he didn't agree. Therefore, one of Bai Lian Hua's most powerful skills is to make people feel guilty and self-reproach. This trick was most effective against honest and kind people, and it worked every time. Chapter 3805. "No, Lin Lin, it's not like that." Jing Ainen cried as she explained, "I'm willing. I've always been willing. I didn't say that I wouldn't give it to you. You're my sister. How can I not be willing to give you a liver transplant? We're twins and we have the same blood. If I can help you, I'm willing to give you anything, let alone a liver." Jiang Lin was disdainful. Since she was willing, why did she have to talk so much nonsense? This sister of hers had always been like this since she was young. She didn't know what her parents liked about her. "Then why are you crying?" "The doctor said that we don't match and we can't do the surgery." "Lin Lin, don't worry. Ah Jing said that the hospital will take note of this. They'll definitely find a suitable match. You must relax and don't be sad. No matter what happens, I'll always be by your side." Jiang Lin almost fainted when she heard this. They didn't match. She wanted Jing Ainen to cut a piece of her flesh so that she could experience the pain. In the end, this was the result. Jiang Lin was so angry that her heart was about to explode. She fainted immediately. Jing Ainen saw this and her face turned pale. Then, she screamed and wanted to run out. Tang Gua stopped her. Under Jing Ainen's confused gaze, she pressed the bell by the bed. "Did Bayan leave this thing here? This thing could even communicate with the other side." Tang Gua said that Jiang Lin had fainted. As expected, the doctors and nurses came quickly. "Don't cry. Jiang Lin will be fine. She's probably too emotional. It's all my fault. I shouldn't have told her this. I should have kept it from her." Jing Ainen cried until she was out of breath. She couldn't stop. At this moment, the doctor who was checking Jiang Lin's body stood up and glanced at Jing Ainen. "This is a ward. If you want to cry, go outside. You're too noisy. Don't you know that crying will affect the patient's mood and rest?" Jing Ainen was stunned, but what the other party said seemed to make sense. She quickly apologized and hurried out. "Are you the patient's family member too?" When Tang Guo was about to go out, she was stopped by the young doctor. "The patient is fine. She just couldn't accept the bad news and fainted. As her family members, you'd better not agitate her." After saying that, he glanced at Jing Ainen, who was leaning against the door and peeking at Jiang Lin on the hospital bed, and said, "Stop fooling around. You can come in and see the patient. If you want to cause a ruckus, do it outside." Tang Gua smiled and nodded. "Okay, doctor. I will tell the patient's family." "You're not a family member. I'm the patient's friend. I know she's sick, so I came to visit them today." Tang Gua sized up the young doctor in front of her. He looked to be less than 30 years old. She glanced at the doctor's clothes and saw his name. "Dr. Yi, are you Jiang Lin's attending doctor?" "Yes." Lin Lin, what's wrong? At this moment, Jiang Wenjing hurried in. Jing Ainin followed him weakly. Her face was full of guilt. She felt that she had caused Jiang Lin to faint. Jiang Lin had already woken up. Seeing Jiang Wenjing, her tears fell freely. Jiang Wenjing saw this and quickly held her hand to comfort her. Lin Lin, don't cry. I'll think of a way. Brother Ah Jing, it doesn't match. I can't do the surgery. Chapter 3806. Jiang Lin cried softly. She looked so pretty when she cried. You're my sister's twin. Why don't you match my sister's body type? Brother Ah Jing, am I going to die? I really don't want to die. Tang Guo noticed that the young doctor on the side was frowning when he saw that Jiang Lin was crying and gasping for breath, but she didn't seem to have fainted. He wanted to remind her, but he was afraid of hurting the patient's fragile mind, so he did not dare to say anything. He was probably afraid that something would happen to Jiang Lin again, so he simply stood aside and did not leave. Since the patient was sent to their hospital, no matter what kind of patient it was, as a doctor, of course, he would save the patient, no matter how difficult the patient looked. Why don't I go for a match too? At this time, Tang Guo's words made everyone in the ward notice her. That young Dr. Yi, whose name was Yi Lian, could not help but look at her face. Although the human liver would grow back in the future after a part of it was cut off. However, for such a major operation, except for some kind-hearted people who contributed to society, only the patient's family would be willing to make such a big sacrifice. An ordinary friend. He had been a doctor for so many years, but he had not seen many cases like this. Therefore, Tang Guo's words were indeed very eye-catching. However, he did not say anything. This was the wish of others, although this young and beautiful lady's words were a little silly. However, if they were not related by blood, they might not be worthy of each other. However, Yi Lian did not know why, but he still could not hold back. He wanted to remind her, but Tang Guo spoke again. Jiang Wenjing, why don't you go for a match too? Those who are willing to help Jiang Lin, go for a match. Anyway, we're just waiting here. What if someone matches? Jiang Lin really wanted to live at this time. If she could not wait for a suitable match, then she would really die. Therefore, she cried fiercely again. Her pitiful look touched Jiang Wenjing. Therefore, under Tang Guo's instigation, Jiang Wenjing went for a match with her. For Jiang Lin, Jiang Wenjing went to the company and announced that as long as they were willing to do a match, they would be given 1,000 yuan. Once they were compatible and were willing to help Jiang Lin, he would give her a villa and 1,000,000 yuan in cash. It was indeed painful to be stabbed, but there were still people who were willing to do it. Seeing Jiang Wenjing doing so much, Jiang Lin finally felt relieved. Jing Ainin didn't mind. Recently, Jiang Wenjing and Jiang Lin had been too intimate. As long as Jiang Lin could recover, she would do anything. She did not want to see her sister die in front of her. Recently, Tang Guo really wanted to see the Jiang family's life, so she either went to the Jiang family or the hospital. Basically, whenever she went to the Jiang family, she would be intimate with Jing Ainin and the Jiang family's parents. As for going to the hospital, it was naturally an excuse to visit Jiang Lin. Jiang Lin was touched and proud that Tang Guo was willing to match her. She secretly guessed that Tang Guo made such a big sacrifice because of Jiang Wenjing. She said that she had given up on Jiang Wenjing, but in fact, she still cared about him. Otherwise, who would be willing to make such a big sacrifice? At the same time, Jiang Wenjing also thought the same. Because of this matter, Jiang Wenjing felt relieved. Chapter 3807. It turned out that she pretended that nothing had happened, as if she had forgotten about him and no longer liked him. She just didn't want others to see it. In fact, the girl who had always liked to chase after him had secretly hidden him in her heart. After confirming this matter, Jiang Wenjing sighed in his heart and felt a little touched. After all, not many people could do this. It must be because she liked him very much, right? Tang Gui didn't care that Jiang Wenjing was looking at her strangely. Anyway, when the results came out, the person who would be stabbed would not be her. When the time came, she wondered if Jiang Wenjing would be happy and in pain when he sacrificed himself for his true love. Dr. Yi, the Jiang family's relationship is really complicated. Are there so many coincidences in the rich and powerful? The Jiang family adopted an adopted daughter, and then the eldest son of the Jiang family married a commoner girl. Coincidentally, this commoner girl and the adopted daughter are twins. This is other people's family matter. Don't talk about it. Yi Lian looked serious and didn't care about the Jiang family situation at all. If Jiang Lin wasn't his patient, he wouldn't be interested in listening to this. Speaking of Jiang Lin, this patient was indeed a little annoying. The last time she fainted, it was just an act. Jiang Lin's physical condition wasn't that bad. After so many days, he could see that Jiang Lin seemed to want her twin sister to give her a part of her liver. Previously, because they didn't match, he didn't miss it. Jiang Lin looked very unwilling. So, the doctor next to him was right. The rich and powerful were indeed very complicated. By the way, Dr. Yi, do you know who the beautiful lady who often comes to the hospital to see Jiang Lin is? Who is it? That beautiful Miss Tang suddenly appeared in Yi Lian's mind. He couldn't get her appearance out of his mind. The daughter of the Tang Corporation, and can be considered the only heir of the Tang Corporation. Although she hasn't taken charge yet, maybe grandfather Tang thinks she's too young, but it's definitely something that will happen sooner or later. A doctor whispered, "Do you know why Miss Tang is willing to do the match?" Yi Lian couldn't help but turn around and look at the most gossipy doctor in their department. Why? He wasn't a gossipy person, but he didn't know why he wanted to know about Miss Tang. After asking, the other party did not answer for a long time. Yi Lian looked up and saw the other party looking at him strangely. Yi Lian asked again, "What's wrong?" "Nothing much. I just didn't expect Dr. Yi to be like this sometimes. I thought you weren't interested in the secrets of the rich. It turns out that people are all the same. Okay, I'll tell you. The reason why Miss Tang is willing to do the matching is probably because of Jiang Wenjing." Jiang Wenjing? Isn't Jiang Wenjing married? His wife is Jiang Lin's sister. Yi Lian said. That's because Dr. Yi doesn't know about the entanglement between Miss Tang and Jiang Wenjing. It said that they were once engaged, but it seems that Jiang Wenjing didn't like Miss Tang very much, so the engagement was cancelled in the end. After all, the engagement was set by the elders. If the younger generation didn't like it, there was no way to force it. But Miss Tang has always liked Jiang Wenjing since she was a student. I heard that there are countless people pursuing her, but she only has Jiang Wenjing in her eyes. Even if he's married and she doesn't pester him anymore, how can you easily forget the person you like? Chapter 3808. Otherwise, why do you think she came to see Jiang Lin and did the matching? It's all because of Jiang Wenjing. She knows that Jiang Wenjing cares about Jiang Lin, so she loves her sister. Really? Hearing this, Yi Lian didn't quite believe it. He always felt that things were not that simple. According to the contact in the past few days, he really didn't see that Miss Tang liked Jiang Wenjing. Would a woman like that look in her eyes when she liked a man? Mrs. Jiang, on the other hand, liked Jiang Wenjing very much. The way she looked at Jiang Wenjing was like looking at the sky, and her eyes were full of care. As for Miss Tang, he always felt that the look in her eyes was very strange. Yi Lian didn't understand, so he simply didn't think about it and said casually, "The results of the matching will be out tomorrow, right?" Yes, by the way, it said that Jiang Wenjing spent a lot of money to let the company's employees do the matching for Jiang Lin. Even if it doesn't work, he will give money. As long as it works and you are willing to donate a part of your liver, he will give you a villa and 1 million in cash. He's really generous, even I want to give it a try. Yi Lian sneered, "That's all you have. Think about your profession and do something practical, don't think about selling your body. The medical school spent so many resources to train you for so many years, and this is what they gave you. Is your brain filled with tofu dregs? I'm just saying. I know that the cost of doing this is too high. Anyway, I'm also a top student. After so many years of study, I will shine in this industry in the future, and I will never sell my body. I will use my own skills to get the money I deserve." Yi Lian. Did this guy enter the wrong industry? However, I still think that Miss Tang is a person who is infatuated with me. If there was a girl like her who was infatuated with me since childhood, I promise that I won't be able to control myself and will marry her. She's beautiful, rich, and nice. You're dreaming. She won't like someone like you. Yi Lian ruthlessly broke someone's fantasy. Why are you dreaming in broad daylight? It's better to think about the case in your hand and read more books. That's right, why would she like me? I'm not as rich as Jiang Wenjing, and I'm not as handsome as him. However, Dr. Yi, you might be able to. I saw that Miss Tang was very kind to you. Judging from this, you're even more handsome than Jiang Wenjing. I'll go check on Jiang Lin. Yi Lian quickly stood up and walked towards the ward. He pushed open the door of the ward. As expected, Tang Guo was in the ward again. Seeing that Yi Lian had arrived, he quickly stood up. "Dr. Yi, you are really responsible." "System, that's right. She's been coming to the ward from time to time. I'm not sure if it's to see Jiang Lin or something else." Yi Lian nodded lightly and asked about Jiang Lin's situation. Since he was already here, he had to ask. Although Jiang Lin's condition had always been good, she was still a patient after all. Her body was definitely not as healthy as a normal person's, so he had to be more careful. After the inspection, Yi Lian left again. Although he did not talk much with Tang Guo, he did feel much better. He did not know how he got this problem. Recently, whenever he panicked, he would come here to take a look. After that, he would be fine. "Jiang Lin, you don't have to worry. So many people have gone for the matching before. There will definitely be a match. Sister Xiaoguo, thank you so much. I don't know what to say." Jiang Lin thanked him on the surface, but in fact, she was a little proud. Even if Tang Guo made such a sacrifice, Jiang Wenjing did not seem to treat her differently. Therefore, Jiang Wenjing's heart could only be grasped by her palm. "Sister Xiaoguo, I heard that the results will be out tomorrow." Jiang Lin saw Tang Guo nodding. "I'm still a little nervous." "Don't worry, we will definitely find a match." "Don't worry." Tang Guo smiled. "Don't worry, I won't let you down." Chapter 3809. Miss Tang, will there be a match today? Early in the morning, Jing Anan came to the hospital to wait. What she didn't expect was that Tang Guo had arrived earlier than her. She had the same thought as Jiang Lin. Could it be that Miss Tang still liked Jiang Wenjing very much? Was that why she wanted to match Jiang Wenjing? If they were a match and Miss Tang helped Lin Lin, then she owed Miss Tang a lot. She didn't know how to repay her kindness. There must be. Don't think too much. Dr. Yi. Tanghua saw Yi Lian walking over and asked with a smile, Dr. Yi, you're really responsible. It's not even 9 o'clock and you're already waiting here. No matter what kind of patients they are, they're very lucky to meet Dr. Yi. Yi Lian glanced at Tanghua. His heart was beating fast, but his expression was very serious. He said seriously, anyone who meets me is not very lucky. The luckiest thing is that they don't get sick. The luckiest thing is that they will never enter this place. After saying that, Yi Lian quickly looked at Tanghua's expression. He felt that his words were a bit harsh. Although what he said was true, it didn't seem good to undermine her like this. However, Tanghua didn't seem to be angry at all. She said, yes, Dr. Yi is really good at talking. I was wrong. Actually, you're not wrong. In this world, no one can guarantee that they won't get sick. But I can guarantee that I will do my best to treat the patients in my hands. Yi Lian felt that he didn't seem so panicked after saying that. It was really strange. Why was it that whenever he met this Miss Tang, he had to think twice before saying anything? It was about Jiang Lin. Jiang Wenjing arranged the company's affairs and quickly came to the hospital. Now when he saw Tanghua, he didn't feel as uncomfortable as before. In fact, he was still thinking in his heart. If Tanghua was a match, would she really be willing to give Lin Lin a liver? However, when he thought that she had already mentioned the match, she was most likely willing. Therefore, he looked at Tanghua with more and more complicated eyes. Sheng, I'm so nervous. I don't know if there is a match this time. Jing Anan leaned into Jiang Wenjing's arms. Jiang Wenjing himself didn't realize that he didn't dislike Jing Anan at all. Therefore, Jiang Wenjing should have had some feelings for Jing Anan at some point. In fact, Jing Anan was a good girl, but she was not scheming and was easily deceived. She was just a little naive and sweet. When she treated someone well, it was definitely the most sincere kind of kindness. Seeing that she did not hesitate to exchange her liver for her younger sister, he knew it. Until the matching doctor appeared, everyone's eyes were on each other. Especially Jiang Wenjing. If he hadn't tried his best to control himself, he would have grabbed the doctor's collar and asked if the match was successful. Doctor, how is it? Is there a match for Lin Lin? Jing Anan couldn't take it anymore. Jiang Lin had been sick for a long time. If they waited any longer and couldn't find a suitable candidate, her life would be in danger. How could she not be anxious when she was about to miss the best surgery period? At this moment, Yi Lian could not help but look at Tanghua's face. He saw that she was still maintaining a dangerous smile, but he could not figure out what she was thinking. Was she really not afraid that if the match was successful, she would end up lying on the operating table in the end? Donating a part of her liver to others. Although the liver had the ability to regenerate, it was an important part of the human body and would more or less have some impact. In particular, this was a major operation. Did she really not care at all because of Jiang Wenjing? Chapter 38:10. No, he always felt that she didn't like Jiang Wenjing. She didn't see the slightest bit of love in Jiang Wenjing's eyes. Although she seemed to be very concerned about Jiang Lin's physical condition and her expression didn't reveal any flaws, he felt that it was very fake. Tanghua felt Yi Lian's gaze and looked up at him. Yi Lian quickly looked away. But in just a second, he couldn't help but look back at her again. At this time, she was no longer looking at him and her eyes fell on the doctor who was doing the matching. For some reason, he actually felt a little disappointed in his heart. After Jing Anan asked this question, Jiang Wenjing didn't say anything and kept his eyes on the doctor. Seeing everyone looking at him like this, a smile appeared on the doctor's face. Among the nearly 70 people, there's finally someone who matches Jiang Lin's type. Speaking of this, the doctor couldn't help but look at Jiang Wenjing and finally said, Jiang Wenjing, you and Jiang Lin are a match, so you can do the surgery. Finally, the others don't match. As soon as the doctor's words fell, everyone present was stunned. Then, their eyes fell on Jiang Wenjing. Jiang Wenjing was also obviously shocked. He didn't expect that among so many people, he was the only one who matched Jiang Lin's type. For a moment, his heart was very complicated and there was a trace of a strange feeling in it. Jiang Wenjing, if there's no problem on your side, please think about it as soon as possible. Jiang Lin's illness can't be delayed any longer. If it's delayed, it's easy to miss the best time for the surgery. It's best if you can give an answer today. The doctor knew that Jiang Wenjing's identity was not simple. Once he agreed to do such a surgery, it would definitely have a certain impact on the company. However, in his opinion, human life was more important. Of course, whether he was willing or not, they, as doctors, couldn't force him. It was said that those people who matched the previous type were all found by Jiang Wenjing, and they were people from his company. It seemed that Jiang Wenjing was willing. After all, he doted on his sister so much. Jing Anan looked at Jiang Wenjing eagerly and held his hand tightly. She said happily, Jing, you and Lin Lin are a match. Lin Lin can be saved. I didn't expect you to be so compatible with Jiang Lin. It seems like even God wants you to be siblings. Tang Gui added, God must have seen your anxiousness and sincerity. Jiang Lin has been in a bad mood for the past few days. I've been worried that we might not be compatible. Now that she knows that your type matches hers, I don't know how happy she will be. By the way, when I came to see her this morning, I noticed that she wasn't in a good mood. Now, I'll go see Jiang Lin and tell her the good news. Tang Gui turned around and went to the ward. You're Jiang Lin's brother, so I'm relieved that you're on her side. Yi Lian looked at Tang Gui's departing figure and felt very strange. Why did he feel that she was gloating instead of being happy? Did she know that Jiang Wenjing was a match? No, she was not a god. How could she know in advance? Moreover, Jiang Wenjing and Jiang Lin were not biological siblings. There was a great chance that they would not be a match. However, it was indeed very good news for the patient that they had a match. I'll also go and see the patient's condition, Yi Lian said to Jiang Wenjing. Jiang Lin's family, when can you confirm the time of the surgery? Jiang Lin can't be delayed any longer. It has to be done as soon as possible. After that, Jiang Lin didn't care about Jiang Wenjing anymore. She didn't see Jiang Wenjing's stiff body. Chapter 38:11. Jiang Lin. Tang Gui walked into the ward with a smile. When Jiang Lin saw Tang Gui's smile, she was overjoyed. Could it be that there was already a suitable match for her? Sister Xiaogua, how did it go over there? Jiang Lin quickly grabbed Tang Gui's hand and asked nervously. At first, she thought that with the Jiang family's resources, they would be able to find a suitable match for her quickly. After all, the Jiang family was not short of money. As long as there was a suitable match, they would even promise to compensate the other party. She heard that there were indeed people who came to do the matching, but she did not expect that after so long, they still could not find a match for her. Even her sister, who was related to her by blood, was not compatible with her. At this time, she was really panicking. Now that she heard Tang Gui say that there was a suitable match, how could she not be happy? After being happy, she started to guess who was the match for her. Seeing how happy Tangguo was, could it be her? Sister Xiaoguo, who is the match for me? Jiang Lin asked. She guessed that it was Tangguo, but she could not say it directly. She could only ask for the details. If it was not, it would be a little awkward. Tangguo paused for a moment. When Jiang Lin was a little anxious, she said, maybe it's fate, or maybe God saw that Jiang Wenjing could not bear to part with you, so it ended up like this. Among the dozens of people who went to do the matching last time, only one was a match. Sister Xiaoguo, don't keep me in suspense. Hurry up and tell me who it is. This was related to her survival. Her illness could not wait. Now lying in the hospital bed every day, she felt uncomfortable all over. The vitality she had before was also gradually disappearing. This pain and weakness came from the body, and she could not pretend. At most, she could pretend to be more serious, but her body was really in pain. The feeling of being sick was really terrible. She was angry in her heart. Why was there a problem with her body? Why was Jing Ainin not a match for her? Why was she the only one who was in pain? Just how much did the heavens dislike her? Was it because she had been taken away by a wealthy couple and adopted as their daughter? After living the life of a wealthy young lady for so many years, she now had to exchange her healthy body for it. But what about Jing Ainin? She still married into a rich family. If she hadn't mentioned Jing Ainin to Jiang Wenjing, she wouldn't have had the chance to marry into the family. Sure enough, as long as Jing Ainin was around, she would never have a good life. She would always be the unlucky one. It's your brother, Jiang Wenjing. Tangguo finally said the answer. Jiang Lin was stunned. Jiang Wenjing. How could it be Jiang Wenjing? They were not related by blood at all. The chances of a successful match should be very, very small. He had actually succeeded. Lin, are you all right? Jiang Wenjing loves you so much, so he should give you a part of his liver. Tangguo comforted her. However, we might have to wait for him to settle the company's matters properly. Open and cesarean surgeries are all major surgeries, and there is a certain period of recovery. Jiang Lin's heart was actually not that touched. She just felt that this matter was a little too dreamy. After looking around, the person who matched her turned out to be Jiang Wenjing. Chapter 38:12. Previously, they had subconsciously skipped this step, thinking that since they were not related by blood, it was almost impossible for the match to succeed. They did not think of this step. Last time, when Tangguo suggested a match for Jiang Wenjing, she did not expect that Jiang Wenjing would really match her. This was really unexpected, but it also made her sigh in relief. Brother Ah Zhang liked her so much, he must be willing to save her life, right? But this was such a big matter. Even if Jiang Wenjing was willing, would the Jiang couple be willing? The Jiang couple doted on her, but they could not surpass their precious son. This was such a big matter, they would definitely oppose it and tell Jiang Wenjing that the operation could wait. Not every surgery could wait. She really could not afford to wait for her life. If it continued to drag on, she would really die. She must think of a way to make the Jiang couple regret it too late. In front of her life, she did not care whether the Jiang couple would have any prejudice against her. As long as Jiang Wenjing's heart was always with her, the Jiang couple would be a thing of the past sooner or later. She was not going to marry Jiang Wenjing. If Jiang Wenjing agreed to the operation, it was only to save his seriously ill sister, so it was reasonable. Even if they hated her, it would only be a matter of time. After this matter was over, she would coax the Jiang couple and it would not be a big deal. I didn't expect it to be Brother Aojing. Jiang Lin bit her lip and her eyes turned red. I'm really a burden. Not only did I get this disease, but now Brother Aojing has to make such a big sacrifice. System, what a pure and beautiful white lotus flower. She hasn't even signed the agreement yet, but from your mouth, it's already a done deal. But will Mom and Dad agree? Jiang Lin caught a glimpse of the figure at the door of the ward because when Tang Guo came in, she deliberately did not close the door tightly, creating a chance for Jiang Lin to see the situation outside, and also created a chance for Jiang Wenjing to eavesdrop. At this time, Tang Guo was sitting with her back to the door of the ward, as if she did not know what was going on behind her. Jiang Lin was leaning against the door, looking straight ahead. In fact, from time to time, she would glance at the door from the corner of her eye. Coincidentally, Tang Guo blocked part of it, so if one did not look carefully, Jiang Lin's expression would not be seen. Jiang Wenjing had mixed feelings about this matter. If other people were compatible, he could give them a lot of material and money to satisfy them so that they could accept the surgery. When it came to him, his subconscious was still very resistant. Even the liver was the only organ in the human body that could regenerate. Even if a part of it was cut off, it could still grow back. However, who would be willing to go through a cesarean operation if there was nothing wrong? At the thought of being stabbed, he felt pain all over his body. However, now that the results were out and Tang Guo was so happy to tell Jiang Lin the results, he was afraid that he would hurt Jiang Lin's feelings if he refused. If Lin Lin knew that he was unwilling, she would be very sad. Lin Lin was a good girl. She was willing to stay by his side silently. She didn't care about any status at all. Now that she was seriously ill and was about to lose her life, if he still hesitated, he would be letting her down. From the moment the results came out, Jing Anan looked at Jiang Wenjing with a pitiful, almost pleading look. You're tuning into the LoveLore Library YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.